Hello, everyone. How's it going? I'm sorry it took just a minute to get going here. I happened to forget to click one happy little button. So unfortunately, that's what happened. So I am able to see the chat. So if you have a question, please put it in the chat. Goodness. So I have two go live buttons to select, and unfortunately I didn't select the second one, so that's why we weren't live. But I've got it all figured out now, and we should be good to go. So John Rarick left a little note in the chat, so please go ahead and put your comments in the chat if you have them, and I'll be able to see that chat to help answer any questions. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get started by sharing my screen. So if you hang on just 1 second here, I am going to do that. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen now. It's just a few slides of a keynote presentation, and then what we're going to do is jump in to the Excel document that I promised that you will be able to review and use for your own content calendar creation. So what I would like to do is just walk through how a content calendar can help you first. So what is a content calendar? So we're going to talk about a few things that the content calendar is. So first of all, it's a schedule. The content calendar allows you to actually schedule your content and kind of schedule it ahead of time so that you know what to work on and you're not trying to think of that last minute. It also helps you to plan. So when there's different activities going on in your department or in your area, a content calendar can help you to plan so that you can coincide the content plan with the academic calendar, for example. Also, it's strategy. So the content calendar helps to provide some strategy. And Josh Tenney has talked to us a lot about strategy and content strategy. This is a way to really hone in on that and have specific goals and specific strategy, a specific strategy in your communication. And lastly, it's a way, again, to pull together those goals. So you're going to be able to pull together the goals that you have for yourself and kind of put them in one place so that your team is able to see them. So how does a content calendar really help me? That's a good question. First of all, it helps to bring focus. Oftentimes, there's so much going on and it's so fast that it happens that it's hard to keep that focus. So a content calendar will help you to keep focus. It also will help you communicate to the rest of your team. Everyone is going to be able to know exactly what is going on at that moment, at that day. What's the scheduled launch, what content's going to go live that day. And this doesn't have to necessarily be a team. This could just be for you. So it can be for you as well. And it saves you time. So when you know exactly what's going on and kind of exactly where you are in the grand scheme of things, in the current season that you're in the current quarter that you're in, it's going to save you some time. So let's take a look at this thing and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this screen from showing, and I'm going to open up the Excel document. Now, if you would like, you can open the Excel document and see it by going to the webinar page, so cals.las.iestate.edu/webinar. And I think, John Rearick, if you wouldn't mind putting that in the chat for us, then people can see where to go to get it. There is a little link below that live video, so you're actually going to be able to see me right from that page as well. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I open the correct Excel sheet I want to share. Cool, cool. Just one shake. I've got to get things set up for me here. Like I said, this is new for us, for me to be doing live stream this way. So I just want to make sure that everything is set up properly. All right. And it is a little odd on my end because we are behind a little bit. You're a little bit behind me on the YouTube. Okay, we're good. So when you open the document, this document, I went ahead and listed the resources that this document came from, and they are listed in the description, in the YouTube description below. So if you're not familiar with YouTube, right below me, right below my head, there's a description, and you can open the description, and there should be a link there that you might have to just copy and paste. That was also another way to get to this document. But that's where you're going to find also some resources as far as where this came from. And there's 3 videos that I watched that really kind of brought the content calendar more closer to home for me. I've understood and known of a content calendar through my studies in the MBA program and through marketing strategies. However, it's been a while, and so I really enjoyed looking at those resources, and that's really where I derived this from some folks that do this on a regular basis. Also, I've simplified it. So I've really simplified this content calendar for you in hopes that it'll help more and geared it more towards the academic content editors. So it should be good for you. The first thing that you're going to see is a tab at the bottom called Content Ideas. And in this tab, first of all, are the goals. So there's a list of goals. And the first thing you're going to want to do is specify what your goals are. So if you haven't seen the recent videos from Josh Tenney, I encourage you to do that. He talks all about goals, and this is where they go. So you can put your goals in here. Essentially, what I did was just made a goal for each line. And then underneath each goal, I went ahead and wrote out some things that I could do to reach that goal. So what could we do in accordance with the website to reach that goal? So we want to increase unique visitors by 25%. So that's not just going to happen. We're going to have to do something about it. So maybe we promote the website on our social media. Maybe there's specific pages that we want to promote. Maybe we want to create a blurb for faculty to plug different items on the website or events happening and point people to your website. And they actually have something structured to be able to read from or to view when they go out and give presentations. Maybe you'll collaborate with local organizations to promote a program on their site. So all of the different items below are just examples. They're just random like examples to give you an idea of what this section should look like. But I want you to really think about your own goals and think about what it's going to take to get to that goal for yourself and kind of for your team and for your website. So I don't really want you to take the text verbatim here because I'm not going to, I do not call myself a content expert. If you want a more content strategy, again, watch Josh Tenney's videos and you can create some goals, and that's where a lot of these ideas came from. So next, you're going to want to create some content ideas. So what are the ideas for your content? And this is really a brainstorm section. So this is a place where you and people from your team can go in and brainstorm. So you could share this. Perhaps you want to upload it in, Cybox or something and use this in that way. But essentially, it's a place where you can just get your ideas on paper. So when I first started working at Iowa State, it was very obvious that it was going to take about a year for me to understand the different seasons, what happens in each quarter, and what should be promoted or what should be worked on depending on that stage of the season. So if you're brand new to Iowa State, you're brand new to the area or to this group that you're in and trying to edit the website, it's really important to ask a lot of questions to those around you. Like find out what are the important big events and what are the important things going on so that you can come up with ideas that are surrounding that concept. Once you come up with the idea, you essentially just put something to describe the idea in the first box and then a description in the second. And month, I've gone ahead and created a drop down here so you can go ahead and just quickly kind of guesstimate like, okay, this should probably go out in August or this should go out in October or whatever it is. And you can go ahead and put in here where the idea is from. Sometimes the idea is from like a person. Sometimes the idea is from maybe a website that you looked at that had a really cool concept and you're like, oh, we should do that for our group or our, department. And so you can go ahead and even put a link in there if that's what you want. And there is a place that you can mark that the, idea is done or that you have used the idea. So I'm just looking here. Oh, yeah, that's right. YouTube doesn't allow for links in the chat. I forgot. Sorry about that. So again, you can just go to cals.las.iastate.edu/webinars, and you'll be able to get that link. And I will send an email out. And then also, I'm wondering if instead of like the full URL, if we just do like cals.las.iastate.edu. I'm going to kind of cheat here. There you go. So I just spelled it out, so maybe that'll help. Okay, next tab. Let's go into the editorial calendar. And if you do have questions about what I'm going through, please let me know and I'd be happy to help answer them. So this is really like the crux of it. This is the kind of big part of the presentation today. This is, maybe like, this is the whole reason that I was thinking, it would be good to share. So the first thing that came to mind was that there is an academic calendar that exists for our institution. I'm sure several other institutions have an academic calendar as well. What you can do is look at them and figure out which items, like which dates in that academic calendar are kind of important for you. And you can put them in to this editorial calendar as like static information, just kind of for you so that you're able to know and understand like when those items hit. And so it'll give you an idea, especially of where your audience's mind is going to be. Like if you're trying to contact faculty on, the 10th because you're going to pull them together for some kind of meeting to, break out your new marketing plan. It's probably not a good time to do that since grades are due on the 11th, right? So just having that understanding of what's going on. And from there, you can kind of, so that's kind of the bigger picture. Actually kind of mid picture, because then you might also want to put in here like larger things going on that would affect your team or your content editing. Like, is there a large event? Is RAGBRAI coming through? Is there some kind of, local event going on. And that way, if you're trying to plan a conference or promote a conference or different things like that, like you're going to be able to alert your audience, your attendees, to the fact that, hey, this is also going on in town, so we recommend that you go this route instead. Like, you might not think of doing that if it's not on the calendar, on your editorial calendar, and you may think of it, but it might be really last minute, and so maybe those directions or instructions might not be as nicely written as if you had more time, obviously if you had more time to do it. So that's what I recommend. Then you can go in more to your program, like also put in, is there a student picnic at the same time every year? And it doesn't have to be the exact date. You don't need to know the exact date, but like, what month does it happen? Like, when does the picnic happen? When does the big student group learn about all the student activities going on? When does that happen? So those are just things to put in there so that you have an idea. And I've marked them as static, basically meaning that they're not to-do items, they're just informational items. So there's that. You can select in the status column from different options. So this is really like, has this item been started? Is it assigned to someone, but maybe it's not started yet? Is it in progress? Has it been approved? Has it been, is it in some kind of a writing or design review? And that may just be like your proofing stage. You can call this whatever you want, and you can edit these as well yourself. So if you if you go here and go into the conditional formatting, into the data and the data validation. I don't know if you can see the validation screen, but I essentially made them as a list. So it's just a list of terms that you can edit yourself and go in and change. So if you want the status to be something different. And then I did assign a color to them. So if it's in progress, there's a different color that shows up. If it's published, if it's in design review, there's just different colors. So you can hopefully visually see the difference quickly. And again, the month, and it's kind of like, if I was a super advanced Excel user, I would probably make this more eloquent, where if you put the planned published date, then the month would automatically show up here, or perhaps you already know to throw certain months into a quarter, and so maybe it would say Q1 or Q3 or whatever. So you can take this Excel sheet and advance it, the more knowledge that you have and what you want to do. So why is there a planned published date and an actual published date? Well, it's because you kind of want to have an idea when the thing is planned to launch. However, you might not launch it on that exact day for some reason. Maybe you launch it early, actually. And so this is a way for people on the team to be able to see when it actually launched and when people actually could learn about it. Next, we have format. What kind of content is it? Is this a news item? Is this a press release? Is it an event? Is it a banner? Is it a social media post? And again, you can edit these to be whatever fits your program or your group. Content title, put in the title. And I would assume that as time goes on, that this title would be more accurate. So maybe you're going to put in an idea for a title, and then if that title changes, you want to change it in here. Keep in mind, for example, that when you have events or you're listing events, you want to make sure that each event title is different. It should not be the same title. So if you have multiple orientations for students, those orientations should not all be called orientation for new students. They should be called the date and then the orientation for the students. So that way they all have a different title and it's a different event. So this again is a good way to identify what you're going to need to put into the website. Also, if you have a student or someone helping you, this can help them as well, because you can go ahead and enter the titles so that they have an understanding of how that should be done. Author, whatever, if you want to use author field, it's just a field, you can put it in so you kind of have an idea of who wrote what story, and then you can sort them later if you want. Also, category. So what is a category? There's multiple categories. I just put 3 of them in here. Like if you had a specific marketing campaign, sometimes they actually have a name. So you might have a specific marketing campaign, like new students marketing campaign, or like research day marketing campaign, or whatever. There might be just different categories that you want to list here, and so you can add your own. I did put the academic calendar item just because it makes it clear where it's coming from. And then conference, again, same idea. If there's a specific name of the conference, or you have multiple conferences that you're running, this is nice because then you can kind of sort like all the content. Like, so you could say everything for the ABC conference, show me that in order, or filter that for me. Then you're going to be able to see all the events, all the news items that you plan on posting, the banners that you plan on posting and when, and you can really get organized with your content. So when it gets closer to time, or a few weeks out, you're going to know exactly what to publish when, and it keeps you from really doing it on the fly. Next is audience. It's really important to keep into perspective of who the content what the content you're creating, like who is it for? So who are you creating this content for? Is it for future students? Is it for the student parents, right? Like who are you gearing this content to? I hesitate with like general public, because general public is just kind of almost too broad. Like when you write content, it really should be more focused, and there should be a specific group of people that you're targeting that content for. And then if there's certain research collaborators, that's another audience. So if you write a story, perhaps it's for your research collaborators. Really, your website should be for people that are outside of your program and outside of your group. So the website may assist faculty, for example, with knowing kind of when orientation dates are, but they exist on the website not for faculty, but for future students and their parents. So you want to make sure that the content on your website is for a public audience of some kind, and faculty is not a public audience. And so we want to make sure to drive the websites towards that public audience. And then you can put the URL to wherever this content is. So it'll be very easily accessible. If you're like, oh, I wrote an article about this 3 months ago and I want to reuse it because I can do something with it, but I can't remember the URL, and now I'm going to have to go to the website and I'm going to have to search around for it, which hopefully the search works really well and you can find it quickly. But this might be easier for you if you want to know what's going on. And then a notes field. So you basically can put notes in here. So again, this was a simplified editorial calendar and the content idea tab that really started from one of the videos that I watched. But again, I changed it and I simplified it and I made it more towards the academic side of things. And so I just thought that this would be really helpful for content editors. Even though I'm not a content expert, I find it really fun. Like I do, have an interest in trying to give you good ideas that exist and that I've heard of and that we have heard of on the team, and just give them to you. So are there any other questions in the chat? Let's see, I don't see any. So I'll wait just a little bit here to make sure that nothing comes up. If you have a question about this, don't be shy. You can put it in the chat. It's all good. All right. So hopefully you're all ready, and you're all ready to start with the content calendar. I figured it was kind of a nice time to do it since at our university, we are now we're walking into a new fiscal year. So it could be a good time to get started. And if anybody has created content calendars before or really worked with them for your group or your area and have suggestions, please feel free to put those in the chat too, because it'll be really nice to learn from everybody about different ideas for creating a content calendar. All right. I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day. I will tell you that we do plan on going live every Friday at 1 o'clock Central Time. So if you're interested in joining and watching, we will be doing this every Friday at 1. And feel free to join us. And you'll be able to, by going to our YouTube channel, you'll be able to see the next live stream coming up. Also, by going to the CALS LAS Web Team website, that webinar page, the live stream will be right at the top. So you can go to the same place every week and watch from there. And then there's also a YouTube button that you can click so you can actually view the video in YouTube to get to the chat really quick. So if you're interested in asking a question and that kind of thing, that's where you would go. So, all right. Thanks for being here, everyone. I hope you all have a great weekend and happy content calendaring. See you later.